Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe. No co-host today, actually. My boy Kentu is dealing with a stomach bug issue. Hey, Kentu, hope you're doing well, man. All wishes here, but the show must go on because it is an important one. The Astros win their fifth series in a row against the New York Mets, or whatever you want to call them, the Grimace, I guess you can say. They finally got over the Grimace and was able to win that series against the New York Mets. That long rain delay on Sunday's matchup. A lot of things to get through. We already got our objectives on the side right there. Recap that Mets series. Struggled with runners in scoring position in game one. It was kind of brutal, but we'll go over that here in a minute. The defensive miscues as well. Offense passing the baton to each other. Altuve ejected. The month of June. Astros at 500. That might not even be there, but we'll just keep it there for the hell of it. Who's invented the Carne Asada, Toronto Blue Jays preview, train station, injury news, and a little bit around the horn throughout Major League Baseball. We've already got a contender going in the home run derby, as well as another giant gone, saddened by the baseball world, as Orlando Cepeda had passed away on Friday. But like I said, it's going to be a solo show. I'm your host here, Zoe. Let's get started because it's a long one. We're going to try to get through it under an hour. Hopefully, we get through it that time. But the Astros 42 and 41, like I said, 3.5 games back from the Seattle Mariners as the Twins took that series against the Mariners. The Orioles and Rangers are actually playing right now, looking at to see if that's going to be a 7-game losing streak for the Rangers because their big bat, Corey Seager. I don't know if everybody saw the replay with that being the one hit on the hand. So it was very brutal to see him go down, but hopefully he's all right. I don't have the news on him, but it's a tight race in the AL West right now. The Angels are climbing up the ladder. I think they have a 7-game winning streak too. So we'll have to continue to monitor that because the AL West is starting to heat up. Mariners, Astros right now at the moment, trying to see who's going to take over that number one spot. But before we get started, look at the ticker below. Follow our podcast platform, Spotify, Apple as well. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're still trying to pick that up. If you're not on YouTube and you're on Twitter, make sure you go over there, subscribe to that channel, hit that like on this video just to help us boost this up. And of course, as always, the social media platforms, we're everywhere that you can find us except Facebook, Twitter, X, Full Steam Ahead, TikTok as well, FSA Full Steam Ahead on Instagram. Our Instagram numbers have been really going up really well. So shout out to everybody that's been following and looking on our content from Instagram to Twitter to TikTok itself. But let's start off with that recap against the Mets series. And we're going to start off with that runners in scoring position, man, because the Astros did struggle in game one with runners in scoring position. The Astros did a great job actually taking Jose Quintana out of the game pretty early. I think probably the fourth inning, I would say, that he got out the game early. They went to the bullpen, but same time, the Astros got to do a better job getting those runs in. 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position, 14 left on base. Mauricio Dubon really had two opportunities. I think of the first or second inning, he had bases loaded with 2 outs, didn't get the job done. And then later on through the game, there was an opportunity with second and third with 2 outs and did not get the job done. But hey, not everything's going to go your way. The offense did pick up in game 2 and game 3. So that was a good spark at the end of this series to see. So I'm not too really bad about the runners in scoring position throughout this whole series. Just in game 1, it was kind of a struggle, especially with Ronel Blanco not having his stuff, which we'll get here with on that pitching preview with him in a little bit. But moving on to the Astros defensive miscues, man, because there was a lot of defensive miscues throughout the whole series. I'd never seen an Astro series like this with the defense struggling from miscommunication to fielding an in-betweener. I mean, there was a lot going on throughout this series. So real quick, let's start off with Friday. As if anybody did not watch the game on Friday with the Apple TV, Jerry Pena had the opportunity to do an in-game interview with some of the commentators on Apple TV. And during that time, Jerry Pena and Alex Bregman, he went to go get a fly ball that was in the infield and behind Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman kind of backed up, and then I guess he kind of heard the footsteps of Pena, and it just went in between them. I mean, it was just kind of one of the things that nobody communicated. And sure enough, even Pena had said on the in-game interview, he's like, hey, I'm not going to make an excuse, just bad miscommunication from both of us, move on. And sure enough, they did. I mean, they even made a little crack at it, I think, in game 3 when Bregman kind of chopped over on Pena, fielded a ground ball, throw it at first, And I mean, they just joked about it, so not too big on it. Alex Bregman too on that Friday game. Um, could have filled the ball cleanly at third base. It kind of made that hop into the inner palm of his glove. It didn't get a good fielding position on that. Obviously, he didn't make the play. Next batter comes up. It's Jeff McNeil, and McNeil's not even considered a power hitter. You just got to tip your cap on that. Blanco just didn't make his pitches as well, and McNeil hit a 3-run shot into the first row in right field. So that's what kind of happened. That's what transpired the whole game around, and the Astros offense and the pitching really couldn't get going after that. But they did lose game one. But let's move on to Saturday. The defense continued to kind of not transpire into a good state of mind. I mean, Altuve, I don't know if it was kind of it was an in-betweener, but I don't know if you felt that correctly. Me and the judge of my eyes, I've played the corner and I played the middle part of the infield throughout high school and college. I think something like that, you kind of step back, and that's what Altuve's first, um, the first look he did. I mean, that was the first thing he did was just pop back up, but it just didn't do that at the at the time, and they didn't even roll it at air at the end of the game. They rolled it as a hit, but something like that, if he gets it, that's a ground ball double play. Inning just continued to happen. Framber Valdez too, fielding, what is it called? PFPs, pitchers fielding practice. Astros do a lot of things like that in the pre games of their routine. And Framber Valdez in that situation right there, I don't think even he fields it cleanly, it's going to be hard to get Tyrod Taylor out at the plate. He was flying down the third base line on that little dribbler. I want to say it was by Harrison Bader, but Taylor was just flying through third base to home. It would have been a bang bang play. In that position right there, you just got to go first base. Obviously, that did not go well for Framber Valdez as he fielded it with his glove. Kind of tried to field it too. Cesar Salazar went over his head, and you can see the frustration from Framber in that moment because after that happened, you saw the anticipation of him just being angry, and then he kind of threw his glove on the ground because he knew in that moment he kind of messed up, and it kind of transpired that whole inning to, I think it was a 3-run inning for the Mets. So happens. That's the game of baseball. They moved on. Framber Valdez was able to go 4 2/3. Did give up 6 earned runs. Not a great start for La Grasa, but it is what it is. And then to lastly put onto the defensive miscues, not Framber Valdez, Yordan Alvarez. I don't know if that ball was just telling away, if he got a bad jump on it, but if you look at the replay, it looked like it was telling away from him. He was kind of jogging to it, and then at the end, he kind of sprinted a little. He tried making a little sliding play down the left field line. It did not get caught, obviously. It went all the way to the back of the wall, and the Mets did score a run off of that. So this was probably the series I've never seen the Astros kind of struggle during defensively. A lot of miscommunication, a lot of miscues on defense, fielding the ball correctly. Even Ronel Blanco had fielded a ground ball off of JD Martinez on third base side. He thought Bregman was going to stay at third. He fielded it, looked at Bregman. Bregman was charging the bar too. So a lot of miscommunication, I would say, in the defensive end in this series for the Astros. But like I said, they did end up winning the series. Nothing to hang your heads about. They did a really good job. But Joshua, real quick on the chat, what's going on, Josh? It's nice to see you there. And then Daniel, of course, he wanted to get in saying the Mets suck. Honestly, Daniel, that team right there is one of the best teams in June, which we'll have those numbers here in a minute. They've been playing great baseball. It's kind of like Carlos Mendoza and Joe Espada has turned the page of both their ball clubs, and they've been doing a great job. So the Grimace Mets have been doing a good job, I guess, ever since the Grimace made an appearance to make that first pitch at Citi Field. But to continue on with the show, offense. I mean, the Astros offense did a great job. Take away game one, move that out of the picture. Game two and game three. What a job on the offensive part for the Astros. They were passing the baton to one another. And the funny thing is, the long ball didn't hurt anybody. It was 3 solo shots in this series. Jose Altuve again, that solo leadoff homer, which he did tie George Springer with 39 leadoff home runs in Astros franchise history. Only Craig Biggio leads that category with 52. John Singleton getting into the action, and Jake Myers as well. So there was only 3 solo home runs. No guys on base. It was just 3 solo jacks for the Astros. It was just kind of those things like a little bit of soft contact here, a little bit of hard contact there, a little bit of extra base hits, not regarding the long ball. They did a really fantastic job with that. And let's start off with Saturday because honestly, 6-1 going into the 4th inning, if you're a Nationals fan, you are thinking in your head, there's no way that this team's going to come back and win this game. You think at that part, you're probably thinking like, yeah, they're probably going to lose this series. Hopefully that they don't get swept with Luis Severino in Game 3. Well, each Astro player kind of had a beer in their hand. I don't know if they had a Budweiser, a Bud Light, a Michelob. They kind of told everybody to hold their beer real quick. Let's go get them runs. Let's get this rally started. So it did start it in the fourth inning. 3 runs scored by the Astros. Yordan Alvarez single. Yainer Diaz did get a strikeout. Myers was hit by a pitch. And then that's when that 2-out thunder kind of came into play. Pena with a 2-run double down the line, scoring Yordan and Myers. And then Josh Singleton getting onto the action. He had a great series. We'll talk about the Carne Asada because he made an appearance on there. But Singleton with an RBI single to left center. I think he's done a really great job stepping up ever since the departure of Jose Abreu, him, Joey Luperfido, Trey Cabbage, Mauricio Dubon. Give Mauricio Dubon some love over there at first base too, because he's been the guy. If it's not Singleton, it's been him playing a lot of first base, and he's done a really great job doing that. So fourth inning, they were able to score some 3 runs, 6-4 ball game at that time. The bullpen did a great job too. Framber did his part. Eighth inning comes around. Astros scored 3 critical runs in that game. Jake Myers and Jerry Pena walked in that inning. Chas McCormick did get a 3-pitch strikeout. Dubon grounded out, getting runners on second and third. Wild pitch. Jake Myers scores. Next thing you know, it's a 6-5 ball game. Altuve walks. And then next thing you know, Alex Bregman was going through a 0-for-16 slump going into this series against the Mex. And sure enough, I mean, he came up clutch when the Astros really needed him at that time. Bregman 2-run single to the right side of the diamond. Astros take the lead 7-6. Really great job on that part. Then the ninth inning, the Astros continue to get some insurance runs. Yainer Diaz and Jake Myers started off with a single of themselves, runners on first and second. Jeremy Pena comes up to the plate, does a little bit of small ball, gets a sac bunt, almost beats it out too at first base to get the bases loaded. Chas McCormick comes up, strikes out as well. 2 outs. I think this was another big part of this offensive series for the Astros. A lot of 2-out hitting was in display from the bottom part to the middle part to the top of the lineup. Everybody just did a great job because Mauricio Dubon, he did get his revenge, not capitalizing in game 1 with the runners in scoring position. Well, Doobie said, hold up. I have one of the best percentages with runners in scoring position. Sure enough, Mauricio Dubon hits a kind of a broken bat double down the left field line. 2-run score, gets them insurance runs. Astros gone on and won the game 9-6 with Josh Hader closing the game out. So it was a great job on that part for the 2-out thunder, I would say, for the Astros. And then Sunday as well, just continue going on. Big Bat John, solo shot. Yainer bloop RBI single. Myers with an RBI ground out, almost beat that out as well. Altuve with an RBI single. We'll talk about that little ejection here and there in a minute. Ninth inning. Very critical in the ball game. I think it was probably like a 2-hour rain delay, 2.5 or an hour and a half rain delay. I don't know. It felt so long, but the Astros did take an opportunity just to relax. I think even Jake Myers said in the post game that they were just playing a little bit of poker. He was just watching. So the vibes were still there. They were just chilling in the clubhouse. Ninth inning comes along. Obviously, everybody knows ghost runners at second base. Well, he's not even a ghost runner, but the runner at second base in the extra inning rule. Trey Cabbage moves Mauricio Dubon to third base with a deep fly out to center. Chas McCormick, 2 strikeouts. Well, shit. This game in Sunday got an RBI single at the right time. That scores Dubon. Mets come around, do the same thing. Nimmo gets that RBI double. It was very critical for Taylor Scott right there, too. Second and third, 2 outs. Mark Vientos, which he's been hitting the ball well for the Mets, 2 at third base. Did not get it done. 10th inning comes along for the Astros. That's when the Astros did their damage. Yordan Alvarez was intentionally walked first and second. Yainer Diaz, my God, what a series this kid had as well. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Hard drive, hard single to left field. Bases are loaded. Jake Myers, RBI single. Joey Luperfido comes up. 2-run single down the left field line. That is a very clutch at bat from the rookie. Trey Cabbage, they had 2 outs at the time, comes up with a 2-run double. We did talk about that 2-out lightning. It just continued on to Sunday's contest. The Astros did win that Sunday's game 10-5. So the offense, like I said, 3 solo home runs. It wasn't even the long ball. It was passing the baton to each and every other player. If it wasn't Altuve, it was Bregman. If it wasn't Bregman, it was Alvarez. If it was Alvarez, it was Diaz. All the way down to the lower part of the order. 1 through 9 did a great job for the Astros, and it was a successful series for them to come back both them games. Because honestly, game two, I don't think the Astros should have came back. Mets should have really just got their things going, and I mean 6-1 lead going into the fourth. A lot of baseball still left, but at the same time too, right there, you're thinking, man, Mets got it locked down. They're probably going to win the series. Hopefully not for a potential sweep, but hey, Astros made their run the second game. Game three, they started off early with getting them runs in. Obviously, they did get tied in the fourth inning. And then at the end of the day, the Astros offense continued on. And it's not even the big name players like I just listed right there. Jake Myers, Joey Luperfido, Trey Cabbage. That is successful hitting at its best from not just 1 through 9 and not just from your starters, from your bench as well. Joe Spada had to go to his bench for a pitch run on John Singleton. Joey Luperfido did make his debut at first base for the first time this season. He looked really well. The ball did find him in that second at bat. Hard shot to him. Filled the ball really good. So, like I said, a great overall series offensively, I would say, for the Astros game 2 and 3. Starting pitching wasn't there. Framber Valdez, Ronel Blanco, you're not always going to be perfect. You're not always going to be perfect. But the bullpen doing its job on Sunday's matchup, knowing that they did not have a starter. Sean Dubin, like I said, Carne Asada is going to be packed up. We'll have that Carne Asada here in a minute. But let's move on to Jose Altuve's ejection. We talked about it maybe 2 or 3 podcasts ago. We've never seen Jose Altuve so upset. Never in his life, I've never seen Jose Altuve so frustrated at the umpires, because in that Chicago White Sox series, that's when he kind of let his frustration go, going back onto the diamond and was kind of yelling in frustration. He wasn't yelling at the umpire, but just frustrated at the opportunity because of that at bat taken away. Same similar at bat right here against the New York Mets. Singleton doubles, Trey Cabbage doubles. Next thing you know, you got runners on second and third. Altuve's up to the plate. Runners, like I said, scoring position. 2 outs on the line. It was a 4-2 ball or 4-2 ball game at that time, I want to say. Altuve hits the ball down to his left cleat. Nobody says nothing. Home plate umpire plays on. Vientos grounded, fielded the ground ball, throws it at first. Now Altuve's like, hold up. I didn't, that was a foul ball. There's no way that was in play. Did you not see me kind of having a little short limp back out of the batter's box? Like, he was shocked. And if you go look at the replays from Sports City Home Network to SNY TV with the New York Mets TV station, you could see clearly the ball did chip that left part of the toe, kind of like where the middle cleats are at. It did chip that part, and I guess the umpires didn't see it. So umpires gather around. Home plate got everybody together, discussed the situation, and still said he was out and the play wasn't reviewable. That was a surprising thing. Something like that, I think Major League Baseball has to get into to make sure. It's like, what's the point of having a replay if we're not going to be necessarily fair and kind of like truthful on that spot? Umpires got to do a better job at that. That if it's not a challenge, if the Astros can't challenge it, or like just any other team, then why can't I be a crew chief review? Because that is a critical spot in the game. And obviously the Mets did tie it up with 4-4. And then Altuve was upset. You can't be mad with him. I mean, he's already showed so much frustration through this season. Slow start, losing record. Like I said, White Sox was the best example of his frustration throughout this whole season, as well as this Mets series. Gets his helmet, chunks it to the ground, gets the bat, throws it to the ground. I mean, he was upset. What can he do? Because I don't think when Jose Altuve knows he's right, he's going to let you know. And sure enough, he kind of did let the umpires know by showing the frustration. Of course, baseball is an emotional game, especially in that part of the game. Like I said, Astros were still up. 2 of them runs. It could have been a 6-4 game. It could have been a different story throughout this whole game. But it happened. Altuve got ejected. That was his second career ejection. That is not shockingly, because Altuve is one of the most kindest, humblest, and genuine players you're ever going to meet in Major League Baseball. Second career ejection, the first ejection of his career. You got to go back to 2016. That was arguing balls and strikes with the Texas Rangers, and well, not even with the Texas Rangers, but that was against them and the home plate umpire, which is surprisingly here too. Per Francis Romero, Alan Porter was the home plate umpire. He was the same umpire who ejected Jose Altuve back in 2016. Coincidence like that little meme of the Incredibles of the teacher? I think not. I don't know. It's crazy. Like I said, Jose Altuve doesn't really show a lot of emotion when it comes to this situation of of this season of the game. But in that particular moment, when the Astros do need to score some runs, some way, somehow, he's gonna let you know that he was right. And even after the post game, Brian McTaggart did. The media met up with him. McTaggart had asked them about, well, what was the explanation? Did they give you an explanation? Why did he say we couldn't review this, or hey, it didn't hit you? Jose Altuve just strictly just said a one-word answer. No, they didn't say nothing to him. So something like that, you have to clear yourself on your end if you're the home plate umpire or just the umpires in general, because that has to do a better job. If the managers can't challenge it, teams can't challenge it, then that has to be a crew chief review, no matter what. I don't care if it's in the fourth, third, not even the first inning. Stuff like that matters in this game because it's a game of inches, it's a game of runs, it's a game of hits, 60 feet, 90 feet away. That's the beauty of this game of baseball. So Jose Altuve, like I said, second career ejection, but it is what it is. Astros did win the series. Like I said, the Grimace Mets, I don't know if the Grimace era is kind of going downwards, but the Mets did play great baseball in the month of June ever since he did throw out the first pitch. It's just funny to me because, I mean, ever since he threw out the first pitch, I mean, the Mets look like a different team, which is, it could be their rally cry, like their new hit single by Jose Iglesias. Oh my gosh, which is shocking that they played it. Like literally after Friday's game, they played the song. Jose Iglesias goes out to the field to play his number one hit single. Oh my gosh, it's a pretty good, it's a good hit. It got a good little groove into it, all that stuff. I really encourage you to listen to it. But I think the Astros kind of maybe had a sour taste after that, seeing that celebration go on. They did take the series, and it happens. That's the beauty of this game. But Joshua, even he had to say this was a great series. It was a great series, like I said, all around for the Astros. Fifth consecutive series win for them. I think it's great, great, not job just on the team, but even on Joe Spada's part, because he was getting a lot of banter at the beginning of the season saying, well, why, hey, he needs to be fired. There was rumors of him even mentioning head coaching jobs after this season. You got to understand. You got to understand that there is 162 games left. That was barely the third part of the season. If you are in his shoes, Jose Abreu, Ryan Presley, and Josh Hader, that is the best back end of the bullpen written on paper in Major League Baseball. Just didn't turn out the way that he had planned. Offense wasn't doing nothing. Pitching, a lot of starting rotation, missing parts of it because of injuries. Now you're getting Tommy John surgeries, IL stints. So he's been going through this adversity ever since the beginning part of the season. So it's a great to see everything going into the right direction, not just for the Astros, but Joe Espada himself. Tony, what's going on, man? Just joined. Where's the second guy? Mr. Cantu is out, being with the stick bug, with the stomach bug. Hope to have him next podcast that we have, but he said he couldn't do it. He was feeling sick. He was feeling under the weather. So, like I said, praying up to him. Hope he feels better for the next series. He needs to get his rest, get well, because he was playing Sunday League, and that he too could be another factor. But like I said, he just needs to get his rest and have him for the next podcast episode. Who's pitching tomorrow? We'll have that pitching preview here in a minute, but I believe it's going to be Hunter Brown. So just stick tight. We'll have that preview here in a minute. But let's go with what a month of June it's been for the Astros. I mean, a fantastic job all around, offense, bullpen, starting pitching, a lot of correct moves from the coaching staff as well. It just looked like everything was clicking for the Astros this month. Astros finished the month of June with a 17-8 record. That is the best June record in Major League Baseball. Second, like I was telling Daniel when he was saying the Mets aren't that good. Hey, Daniel, real quick, man. They had the next best record being 16-9. After that, it was the Dodgers with 16-10. So just a great month overall for the Astros. Usually, the month of June is the Yordan Alvarez month. His bat has been really doing well. Yainer Diaz has looked like he's found his groove of things again. Like I said before, won 5 series in a row. They look like everything is clicking at the right time, especially in the dog days of summer as we are getting to the month of July, which it is tomorrow. If you're listening to this podcast, it is today, but June 30th, as we are recording this on a beautiful Sunday night. The month of June has been really helpful for the Astros. Let's dive into some more statistical numbers for them through April 26th. The Astros were 7-19. Remember that. Last episode I had mentioned that. Since April 27, they are 34-22 in their last 56 games, which is the best winning percentage in the American League West and the fourth best in the American League. That says a lot right there what this team has been doing. Since April 27, the Astros have gone 35-22. The Mariners, on the other hand, have gone 33-27. Like Angel and I had talked about, like maybe an episode ago or 2 episodes ago, can the Mariners starting rotation continue the trend that they've been doing? Bryce Miller, a rookie, this is his first full season going into play. Same thing as Brian Wu. Brian Wu's been pitching really well. Mariners starting rotation is really one of the best rotations in not just in the American League, but in Major League Baseball as well. Luis Castillo, George Kirby, as well as I know I'm missing one more pitcher, but I mean, like I said, their starting rotation has been doing well. At the same time, too, do you think fatigue starts settling in for them guys? So I don't know. I really don't know. Don't have the answer for that. Angels right now are hot. They're one of the hottest teams in the American League West too. They've been winning 7 in a row. They're 26-30. The Rangers have been one of the teams that have been slumping. A lot of injuries. Same thing. That's what the Astros have been going through. Like I said, Corey Seager now being out for them. They are now 23-34 through them 56 games. American League, real quick. Orioles 37-21. Yankees 36-22. Guardians 34-21, and the Astros 34-22. So the Astros, like I said, they've been doing really well. You got to commend why they've been doing well is because of the starting rotation. It's kind of been stepping up for them. Hunter Brown is the main guy, I would say, for this rotation so far in the month of June. I've been the guy. I've been the guy. I have said it before, and I'm going to continue saying it again because I was the guy that was saying maybe he needs to go into the bullpen to kind of figure things out. He did that in that Tiger series. After that, new pitcher. Definitely new pitcher. Develop that sinker real quick. The month of April, that's what I mean. The month of April, the month of June. Hunter Brown has an amazing shot of becoming the American League pitcher of the month. He is 4-0 and 5 starts in June. AL best 1.16 ERA, tied first in American League pitchers and wins with 4. Second in opponent batting average being 189 in the month of June. His 1.16 ERA is tied for the lowest ever in June by an Astros pitcher. You got to go back to 1993 when Darryl Kyle, RIP to that guy, posted a 1.16 ERA as well. So Hunter Brown has been the main part of that rotation who's been stepping up big time. I've even mentioned Framber Valdez as well. He's been pitching a really great month of June. Scratch this one and scratch that start against the San Francisco Giants. He's pitched really well, getting them consecutive quality starts. Same thing as Ronel Blanco. It's just been amazing how the Astros have been coming along, this time dealing with bullpen issues, dealing with the starting rotation depth that they have. A lot of injuries. They've been doing a lot through adversity, just like I was saying with Joe Espada dealing with that adversity. The Astros organization, the Astros clubhouse, everybody has been a pivotal part of why this team is where it's at right now in the month of June. Let's continue on with the offensive part of June. They lead the majors in batting average at 264, striking out the fewest times with 561. They rank the second highest in on-base percentage with 323, tied for fourth in home runs with 96, third in OPS with 745, and fourth in slugging with 422. This is without Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker got hurt in June 2nd. This is out. Let me regroup. This has been one of the best stretches the Astros have been playing without their best player in the lineup. Kyle Tucker is their best player. No offense to Yordan Alvarez, because that is the month of June is Yordan Alvarez's month. But Kyle Tucker, before that, prior to his injury, he was the guy doing everything offensively, hitting home runs, getting the RBIs in, stealing bags, hitting for average. He was doing everything. He was American League MVP early on in the game. This is without him in the lineup. Just sit back and think about that here for a little bit real quick. Kyle Tucker, dealing with that shin contusion, has done a phenomenal job. Well, the Astros have doing a phenomenal job without him being in the lineup. Sit back, relax real quick, and think about that. Let me get a drink of water when y'all think of that real quick. Me on the show by myself. I mean, shit. You gotta get a drink in here and there. And like I said, the month of June has been just a phenomenal job. Everybody's stepping up big time. Spencer Arrighetti doing a great job. Hunter Brown, like I said, Framber Valdez, Justin Verlander still on the IL, dealing with some neck discomfort. We'll have a little update here on him in a minute. But overall, what a month of June it's been for the Houston Astros. I think that's been everybody's shocker about how the Astros have came back with all these injuries and everything piling up on them. A lot of national media too. Ken Rosenthal was once saying that it was a shocker. Fox, MLB Fox, I don't know who the analyst was, the baseball analyst, but he even said the most surprising team this coming into before the All-Star break has been the Houston Astros. And I think I can say that for Astros fans as well because it was not looking too well for them if they were going to make the postseason. I even said there might not be a shot that they'll make the postseason this year since 2016. And they've been proving the doubters. They've been doing everything right. Everything has been clicking. Like I said, they've been passing the baton to the next person. And it's just been a phenomenal job on that. So shout out to the Astros doing a great job at that and proving everybody wrong. But Tony coming into the chat, people wanted to fire Cintron Snitker before June. Mariners can't score any runs. I think I've seen that. They haven't been scoring a lot of runs in their offensive standpoint, especially from their superstar Julio Rodriguez, who's have been struggling. Bring on the Blitz podcast. What's up? Awesome Astros victory. Great show. Like I said, make sure you go give them a follow. That is the Houston Texans podcast and National Football League as well, the NFL. I think recently they just broke down their top 10 running backs in the league. So make sure you go give them a listen. Great content as well. And on the R Skinner podcast network as right there. Go give them a follow too. And then Tony, to end it before we get to the Carne Asada, does Kyle Tucker get his second spot back, or will they keep Breggy there? That's a great question. Honestly, I think Kyle Tucker does slide back into that position. Yeah, I honestly think he's going to slide back in second. Bregman go back third. The most interesting part I'm going to be interested to see getting close to the trade deadline is there have been rumors about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I'm not saying that them rumors are true. I'm not saying that I'm going to be all in on that. I'm just saying if they get another big bat, it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of flourish that whole starting lineup. Yainer Diaz has been hitting really well in that 4 and 5 spot of the lineup, and I think they've done a really good job even putting Jake Myers kind of the middle part of that order. So it's going to be interesting to see when it gets closer. Like I said, we'll have that 2-part trade deadline series as we'll give you the targets for the Astros to look at position-wise as well as even MLB. We'll even go through Major League Baseball themselves. But great question too, Tony. Moving on. Who's invited to the Carne Asada? Which I've never done this segment. That's always been Angel's segment. But I'm going to have to keep it going. Shout out to my boy out there. Hopefully he's doing good. So the biggest part, who's bringing the meat? There's a lot of candidates. There are a lot of candidates who could be bringing the carne, pastor, fajita, whatever you want to use. Barbecue, whatever. We're going to do a potluck of meats with the Sunday's bullpen. The bullpen for Sunday's game was a crucial part of that series. Sean Dubin being one, starting it off 3 1/3, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, scoreless as well. Brian King doing a phenomenal job, inning and 2/3, 1 walk and 1 strikeout. Seth Martinez, he did give up 2 earned runs with 1 inning, 3 hits, and 2 strikeouts. Seth Martinez can always be perfect, but he did a great job. Excuse me. Brian Abreu, on the other hand, 1 inning, 1 hit, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. He did give up that 2-run homer to Brandon Nimmo. And then Ryan Presley, he's looked like he's done a really good job bouncing back from his relief appearances. 1 inning, no strikeouts, no walks, no earned runs, no hits. Did a great job coming out of the bullpen. Taylor Scott, I think this was the pivotal point of this game, was the bullpen, because Josh Hader was supposed to come out to pitch the 9th. Rain delay came into play, and then Taylor Scott goes into 2 innings, 1 hit, gives up that earned run because of that second, that runner on second with the extra inning rule. 1 walk, 1 strikeout. He continues to do a great job in this season. I wouldn't be surprised if he even has a shot of becoming an all-star this year. So be on the lookout for that relief guy on the roster. And then last but not least, to finish it off, the Venezuelan himself, Luis Contreras, 1 inning, 0 hits, 0 earned runs, 0 walks, 0 strikeouts. Phenomenal job on the Sunday bullpen. They are bringing the meat. Tortillas, on the other hand, we have to have some tortillas with our meal. You're going to go with John Singleton. Big Bad John looked like one of the best out there to be doing it. He was 5 for 13, 1 home run, 2 RBIs, 1 walk. He looked really good at the plate. Um, did a great job from the game 1 to game 3. Just looked like he was filling the batter's box a lot. So shout out to him. Rice. Spanish Rice is going to be coming from Yiner Diaz. 7 for 15, 1 double, 1 RBI. He does extend his hitting streak to 10 games. 10 games of hitting streak. 10, 10 games of hitting baseball from Yiner Diaz. Sorry about that. Little tongue twister for me right there. But he's been, like I said, he's been hitting the ball really consistently as of late. I would say even back from the beginning of June when he was hitting them home runs, constantly hitting for power. Yes, the power hasn't been there yet, but hey, he's getting them extra base hits. He had a double here. He had a triple against the Orioles. He's been hitting the ball really well and really hard. So he got the rice. The beans coming from Jose Altuve, little spicy beans because he was a little spicy at that series finale. 4 for 13, 1 home run, 2 RBIs, 2 walks. Salsa's coming from Jake Myers. Maybe that little picante sauce, little pico de gallo on the side too. He wants to. 4 for 12, 1 home run, 3 RBIs. Looked really good at the play. He said he's been taking an at bat calmly each and every AB, hitting consistently, having the discipline at the plate, not chasing a lot of pitches. So Myers bringing the picante sauce, and we had to have cervezas. We had to have drinks. I don't know if we're going with sodas like, like a Dr. Pepper, a Coke, or we could go cervezas like a Michelob, a Corona. What's another one? Bud Light, Budweiser, Keystone, and Natty Lights, whatever you want to put. Jordan Alvarez is going to be bringing those. 5 for 11, 1 double, 3 walks. The big man didn't even have a home run. No power was displayed. It was just him hitting the ball consistently in the holes, and he did a phenomenal job against the New York Mets. But that is the end of the Carne Asada. Like I said, a lot of people could have been candidates for a lot of things, but the bullpen's going to be doing a potluck of meats, bringing to I guess you could say, the hibachi style grill or the pit, whatever you want to call it, and the others guys bringing the sides, making the party, making the fiesta. All vibes are immaculate because, like I said, the Astros are over 500 with a 42-41 record and 9 of their last 10 games with a bunch of dubs. Pitching preview, 37 minutes in. They're going to Toronto. They're going to the 6. They're going to visit Drake, which Drake does. Supposedly, he does live in Houston now. We're not 100% sure. We don't have the sources for that, but that's what he says. They've been struggling, man. They've been not the team that I expected. I thought they would have been a wild card team, but they are 38-45, 2-8 in their last 10 games, last in the AL East. They did fight hard against the New York Yankees, but couldn't get it done. But before we get started, let me get a swig. Here we go. Had it on mute. Monday, 2:07 start time. It is Canada Day, so that's why they are doing that game early because it's a Canada celebration holiday over there. And Toronto, 2:07 start time. Hunter Brown's on the mound, 5-5 record, 4.37 ERA. He'll be going against Yadiel Rodriguez with an 0-2 record, 5.94 ERA. Hunter Brown. This was the question from Tony earlier. Who's going to pitch the first game? Well, hey, it's going to be Hunter Brown. That guy, the Diesel, has been just firing off fastballs, looking really good at the mound. Last start against the Colorado Rockies, 6 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. I already talked about the month of June, how he's been performing one of the best in the biz. Let's see if he could continue that momentum going into July. He does have 7 games straight with a quality start. Let's see if he can consistently do that at a high start in July. But we're going to move on to Yadiel Rodriguez. Pitched in last year's WBC. If nobody wasn't familiar with this guy's name, the Astros were kind of in the hunt for him to maybe possibly sign him as an international free agent, but did not get it done. Toronto was lucky enough to get him. And that's when a lot of teams were hearing about his name because he did pitch in last year's World Baseball Classic with Team Cuba. He defected from Cuba. Instead of traveling with the team back over there to the island, he did stay in Miami and was able just to, just sit tight. But his last start against the Cleveland Guardians, an inning and a third, 2 hits, 5 runs, 4 of them being earned, 3 walks, 1 strikeout. 52 pitches, 32 of them were strikes. You kind of look at that and you're like, 52 pitches. I understand it's an inning and a third. I understand 5 runs were given, 4 of them being earned. Why only 52 pitches? Well, this was his second start coming off of injury. He did have thoracic spine inflammation. He's barely returning back. Hadn't pitched since April. This is going to be his sixth MLB start coming against the Astros. His 5-pitch arsenal: four seamer, slider, curveball, sinker, split finger. Majority of his strikeouts are going to come from the sweeping slider as it breaks in, then obviously it tails away. But same time too with this guy, fastball and slider heavy. You're going to see a lot of heavy doses of the four seamer and a lot of heavy doses of the slider. Fastball, I would say, looking at the split maps, at the heat maps on Baseball Savant, very, very, very hot and heavy right down the middle part of the plate. I don't know if he does a lot of missing his command, missing his location, but all the four seamers have just been right in the middle of the plate, and a lot of hitters have been touching on the ball. So that's the key plan for the Astros. If he's going to throw that fastball down the middle and part of the plate, I mean, by all means, take advantage of it. This team's a really great fastball hitting team, from Alvarez to Altuve to Bregman. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. That's all I got to say about game 1 of this series. Game 2, Tuesday. 6:07 start time. You got Spencer Arrighetti on the mound for the Astros with a 4.5 record, 5.68 ERA. He'll be going against Jose Berrios with a 7.6, 3.38 ERA. And we talked about Spencer Arrighetti has made an adjustment. The confidence looks like it's just there. Even on the broadcast, I have overheard during the Space City Home Network. It's just a funny name to me, but that's the name of the Astros where they play their games. Spencer Arrighetti and Hunter Brown have been collaborating, talking with one another comfortably, talking about, hey, well, Hunter Brown specifically in 22, he came in the same position as Arrighetti, kind of like a late call-up, and then having to pitch his first full season. I guess Arrighetti's kind of giving him them tips like, hey, I know you just got called up in April or May. You got to adjust some way, somehow, because all these hitters, all these teams, they're going to find a way to look at your scouting report. They're going to look at your minor league spray chart. They're going to do everything in their power to kind of get a better picture of you. And sure enough, they did. They did in the beginning. And then kind of now, Spencer Arrighetti's looked really phenomenal. But can he continue it on to the next game against these Blue Jays? Last start against the Colorado Rockies, 7 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 10 strikeouts. The velocity was really great. He was looking at 97, 98 miles per hour, really high in the 90s in his four-seamer. Of course, like I said, the curveball was really good. The cutter was good. That's going to be the key important game for Spencer Arrighetti. It's going to be locating them cutters, locating his curveball, locating his four-seamer. If he could do all of that, it should be no problem for this guy. Career high in strikeouts with 10, and I would say this has to be the best start in his career so far. One of the best starts in Spencer Arrighetti career. But can he, like I said, can he consistently continue that going on to the next start? Because he's going to have a tough task with the other pitcher on the other side being Jose Berrios. Jose Berrios has seen the Astros tons of times with the Twins, with the Toronto Blue Jays as well. His last start against the Yankees, 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. His last start versus Houston, because the Blue Jays did play against the Astros earlier in the year. The Astros had the potential to sweep them, but obviously you saw how that ended with that Davis Snyder home run against Josh Hader. Astros did lose that one in extra innings. I forgot to say that in the beginning of this preview, but they did win the series after all. But last start against the Astros, 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. He did have a home run come by Jose Altuve. It wasn't a leadoff. It was in the 4th inning of that game. That was the only run scored against Berrios in his start. But Berrios, I guess, is very comfortable at home. He really pitches well at the Rogers Center, 2.39 ERA. Opponent batting average is 2.16, 3.05 opponent slugging. This is the key part, I would say. The Astros have been doing good in these past couple of series. This is not going to affect them, I think. Berrios has a 0.85 home run per 9 innings. He's only given up 5 home runs at home in his, I think he had like 8 starts so far, or 8 or 9 starts being at the Rogers Center. That is really good. That's a really good number. But the best thing about it, the Astros haven't been hitting for power a lot. In the series against the Orioles, they haven't hit a lot of home runs. I think it was just, well, the multi-homer game from Chas McCormick, Jake Myers, Yordan Alvarez. Other than that, Colorado as well, they didn't hit a lot of home runs. Same thing here against the Mets. They didn't hit a lot of home runs. They've just been passing the baton to the next player in their lineup. So I don't think it'll have a big effect on the Astros. Of course, if you can get the long ball, that's better than anything. But just that's a reminder right there that he doesn't give up the home run ball as much as other pitchers. He does have a great off-speed mix for breaking run value. That is the 95th percentile on Baseball Savant. His slurve is one of the best in the league. 34 strikeouts, has a 28.1 whip percentage, and a 224 opponent batting average with that pitch. That's the most strikeouts he has from his arsenal, being that slurve. But um, just like who was I talking about earlier? Just like Rodriguez, he's very heavy with the sinker and the slurve action. That's what he's going to throw a lot, being them two pitches. So if you're the Astros, you're sitting on that slurve, you're sitting on that sinker, you're adjusting. His four seamer, he hasn't thrown it a lot, or actually take it back, he has thrown it a lot, but it's just not as much as the sinker or the slurve. Um, Real quick too, think about it. If you haven't checked out Angel's article on Jose Berrios, make sure you go to our website right there, rsquina.com. He had written a great piece on Jose Berrios, how he made it to the big leagues and how he made it through this difficult time. Tony, real quick, coming in. Mariners have Orioles next, rooting for Mike Elias bunch to sweep them. Mike Elias and Sigma Dale doing different things out there in Baltimore and Birdland. They have it going. Josh, we're coming for the division. And then even a little bit of soccer news. Mexico needs to bring back Miguel Herrera. Do you mean Hector Herrera? I think that's who you mean. Right now, I'm looking at the game. They're 94th minute. They have 8 of extra time and 0-0 with against Ecuador in the Copa America, if anybody does watch that stuff. But I do think Tony is talking about Hector Herrera. I'm not 100% sure. Tony, if you want to come back and say something, let me know. But Wednesday, talking about baseball, 6:07 start time. You got Ronel Blanco, 8.3 record, 2.49 ERA. He'll be going against Yusei Kikuchi with a 4.8 record, 4.18 ERA. Ronel Blanco, like I was saying in that recap of the Mets series, his last start against the Mets, 5 2/3, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. I would say in this outing, the command was just not the best. It was just not there for Ronel. It just wasn't there. It wasn't one of those days for him of getting that feel of El Cambio being the changeup. First 2 batters he went against gave first 2 walks. So he dealt with a lot of command issues since the first inning. The changeup wasn't breaking as he would like it. It was a little bit lower part of the zone, not in the ball stage of outside the strike zone, but it was right in the strike zone where people could do damage. Jeff McNeil did damage, and Pete Alonso hitting them home runs for the Mets. But other than that, you can't really say nothing bad against Blanco because Blanco has been one of those guys that's been really the key factor for the Astros this season. He's been really the pillar of this rotation this year. So I have really nothing bad to say. I would want to see him pitch in this outing to see if he does come back, because after an outing like that against the Mex, he usually does a really good job coming back and establishing his off speeds, establishing his fastball, making sure the command's good. So I'm really interested to see how he bounces back going into this Toronto game. But Kikuchi, on the other hand, last start versus the New York Yankees, 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. He hasn't pitched against the Astros this season. He did pitch against them last year with the Blue Jays, and I wouldn't say it was pretty. He did pitch a combined innings of 6 1/3. Combine those stats: 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 8 walks, 8 strikeouts. Home runs were brought to you by Mr. Dr. Smooth himself, Michael Brantley, and Alex Bregman as well. Hasn't been the Astros since 2021, so that's a stat to look into when they start playing against Kikuchi. But 119.2 exit velocity off the bat. That is bottom 1% of the league. So he does get a lot of hard contact off of him when he is pitching. But the 4-seam fastball, it's very flat. It's a mid upper part of the zone. You know who likes the upper part of the zone? That's going to be Jose Altuve. That's going to be a guy like Yordan Alvarez as well, that they love hitting on that upper part of the strike zone. Averages about 95 to 96 miles per hour. So the Astros look to kind of do some damage on that pitch. Tony, coming back on that, talking about the old coach manager. I'm not sure if that's talking about the Team Mexico of the Copa America. I'm be honest with you, dude. I don't know. I mean, if you're talking about Mexico of WBC, that was Benji Gil. I don't know if you're talking about that. So my fault if I'm not getting that right. We'll have that updates here on the train station on Verlander, Garcia. Haven't got an update with Lance McCullers. And then Josh, real quick, the Astros posted the best record in the month of June, like I said before, Josh, on the month of June for the Astros. But Thursday, 12:07 start time is going to be an early game because obviously the Astros have to travel to Minnesota to play the Twins. Framber Valdez is going to be on the mound, 6-5 record, 4.11 ERA. He'll be going against Chris Bassitt, 7.6 record, 3.24 ERA. Framber Valdez last start versus the Mets, 4 2/3, 10 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Some defensive miscues, like I said, and that was a key part of the game of his start, and as well as a lot of his pitches. It was just not hitting the zone, missing just a little bit out of the zone, but I don't see nothing really too bad about Framber's outing on that part. The strike zone, he did throw a lot of pitches in the zone. That's why they were hard hit contact, like Mark Viento's home run, like Pete Alonso as well. So yeah, it was just one of those games for Valdez, but like just same thing like Ronel Blanco. I'm very curious to see how he comes and bounces back against a team like the Blue Jays, who has been struggling a lot, but a guy like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who's been hitting the ball pretty hot of late. So we'll have to see about that. Chris Bassitt, on the other hand, last start against the Yankees, 6 innings, 6 hits, 0 earned runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. His last started against the Houston Astros, had 4 and third, 9 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. If everybody remembered from that game, it was a home run by Yordan Alvarez. Alvarez was just killing Bassitt, and you can kind of tell. I think it was on one of those replays on social media. Everybody has saw the exchange that they had on third base and coming back, Bassitt going to the dugout when Alvarez was returning to the home plate, the home team dugout, and they were just kind of chuckling a little bit. And Bassitt's like, "Man, this guy, I really just can't pitch this guy. There's no way you could throw a strike and Alvarez won't hit it." So he has a lot of respect for the big man. But Bass has been pitching really well this month of June as well. He's had 3 straight quality starts. Great month of June, like I said, to a record with a 1.95 ERA. He's only given up 1 home run in his last 5 starts. So it's going to be interesting to see on that part of the long ball. Just like Berrios doesn't really give up a lot of home runs, Bassitt hasn't given up a lot of home runs in his last 5 starts. See if the long ball is going to be a huge issue for the Blue Jays or the Astros. I will say this, he does pitch well through the first part of the order, 37 innings and a third. If you combine his stats in the first part of the order, 37 innings and a third, 72 ERA, 0.72 ERA, and an opponent batting average of 226. 9 fastball run value, 94th percentile for the Blue Jay man, but he's really been pitching really well in the June. If he's going to be like Hunter Brown, trying to transition that into the month of July, we'll have to see about that. But it's going to be an interesting series. It's going to be an interesting series because the Blue Jays they're a good team. They got a lot of superstars on that team, but the Astros have to continue doing their job. They got to continue what they've been doing. Blue Jays are 2-8 in their last 10 games. Astros have been 9-1 their last 10 games. They got to continue the momentum. They got to continue the consistency of the hitting. We'll have to see the starting rotation kind of makes not rotation, but the starting pitching makes a come on this series, because in the Mets series, it wasn't really there for them. The Astros offense kind of helped out. Let's see if it kind of balances out with the bullpen, the rotation, and the offense coming all together. But Tony Correa hitting well in Minnesota. Correa has been having a great series against the Seattle Mariners. And then he was talking about, like I said, the Copa America Ecuador advances. Wow. Very wow. If you're a Mexico fan, sorry to hear that for you. Take a swig real quick, and then we'll get with that train station in a couple of seconds. Sorry about that, everyone. Like I said, talking so much, 54 minutes straight talking to y'all. I appreciate everybody on here taking the time out of their Sunday night to listen about Astros baseball, what we have going for our content, and make sure y'all keeping up to date, man. Got to make sure y'all up to date. But let's start with the train station news from the train station. You got injury updates from Mr. Brian McTaggart himself. He said Kyle Tucker Friday. Tucker took 35 swings in the cage, and they look, quote, clean, more fluid, end quote. He also ran on the treadmill again. Positive sign to see him play in that part, hitting at least 35 balls in the cage, possibly off the tee. I don't know if it was soft toss, but an encouraging sign to see him going into the right direction. I've yet to see any kind of baseball activities, but we'll just keep you posted if we do hear that. But I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, Angel and I had kind of talked about it. When are you going to see Kyle Tucker come in the Astros uniform? If anything, I'm looking probably around that Marlins series. maybe the Rangers series. It's going to be interesting to see if he doesn't even go to the All-Star game in Arlington, because right now he is fourth in voting, and we'll have that here in a minute on this update. But Justin Verlander, moving on. Friday, we got an update on him. Verlander is, quote, feeling a lot better, end quote, and close to perhaps playing catch. On Sunday on Sports Talk 790, Dana Brown did give a little info on him as well. He said Verlander, quote, felt good. JV threw from 60 feet, so Verlander's kind of starting to ramp up a little bit of the throwing mechanism of throwing, not throwing a bullpen, but just at least throwing, playing catch from 60 feet. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a rehab assignment. I would even be surprised if he doesn't even return until after the All-Star break. So there's the update on JV. Jake Bloss, the rookie himself, the Georgetown alum, the guy that has 2 double bachelor degrees. Wow, that kid is smart. Bloss threw 20 pitches in the bullpen and walked away with, quote, a big smile on his face. Very encouraging to see that if you're an Astros fan. Sunday comes on as well on Sports Talk 790. Dana Brown said Bloss could look to make a rehab start this coming Saturday. However, the team is still taking over its options. Bloss could also throw another bullpen session on Saturday and then possibly go out on a rehab next week. You're possibly seeing, if that's going to be the case, if they do another bullpen on Saturday and then that rehab assignment, you're possibly seeing Bloss either pitch in that Ranger series or he won't pitch until after the All-Star break. So, update on Mr. Bloss. Luis Garcia now. Friday tossed a scoreless inning with 2 strikeouts in his first rehab start. The Astros Florida Complex League Club in West Palm Beach. And then Brian McTaggart had said Luis Garcia will make a next rehab start at Corpus Christi. Very encouraging to see. There is no date to be announced. We'll keep you informed when that day will be announced for Luis Garcia to go to Corpus and pitch that rehab start. But that is a very encouraging sign to see him. Like Angel had said in the last episode, we kind of seen him pitch, throw 20 pitches, the fastball zipping past by the hitters, only threw about 2 breaking balls. Very encouraging to see him back on the mound, and very interesting to see how his breaking balls look, because like I said, we only got to saw 2 or 3 pitches thrown from him from the breaking ball, but we'll have to see. Last but not least, we got Victor Caratini. Obviously, you remember that slide at home plate. That's what made him go on the IL. Caratini is throwing, running back in Houston. He'll join the team in Minnesota next weekend to continue his rehab. Very encouraging sign to see him. Remember, the Astros did sign Omar Narvaez to a minor league deal. Cesar Salazar has been doing a great job kind of backing up Yainer Diaz at home plate on them days that Diaz does need a rest. So we'll have to see what Caratini's, I guess you could say, his estimated date to come back to the club. Possibly same thing, like I've been saying throughout these injury updates. I think probably after the All-Star break. Think about it; it'll be smart too, because that's almost a whole week of just getting rest, getting your mind right, and getting ready for that second half of the season. Because it's going to be very crucial for the Astros to see where they stand, where they got to go by, especially at the trade deadline. So that is it for the injury updates. To finish off the train station, 3 Astros did make the All-Star finalist voting ballot. They did move on to phase 2, which begins today. So make sure you go and get your votes in for your favorite Houston Astros or your favorite players as well. Jose Altuve leading at first base. Second base. He's leading, first between him and Marcus Semien. Yordan Alvarez is leading first between him and Ryan O'Hearn. In the DH spot, Kyle Tucker, like I said, is in fourth. Juan Soto's in front of him. Stephen Kwan's in front of him. Anthony Santander is in front of him as well. So can't complain. Them 3 guys in front of him, they've been having great seasons. Stephen Kwan's almost batting 400. Anthony Santander had a great month of June. If you haven't seen my article about him, make sure you go our skin and check that out. And then Juan Soto is one of the best hitters in the league. So just have to see what happens. Like I said, voting begins today for phase 2. The end of phase 2 ends on July 3rd of voting. So make sure you cast your votes as much as you can for your favorite players, either your favorite Astro player or even your favorite baseball player. Make sure you go and cast your votes, because All-Star break is going to be in, what is it going to be? Either the 16th or the 17th, I want to say, for the All-Star game. So it's going to be a fun time. If you're an Astros fan or you're a baseball fan traveling to Arlington, by all means, make sure you head out there. I know I'll be out there. If you're just going to see me, make sure you say hi. I'll say hi back. You know me. I'm going to be a friendly guy and always talk to everybody. But to conclude this 1 hour segment of this episode, my gosh, around the horn. Now we're not going to go too much into it. Like I had said, Orlando Cepeda, former San Francisco Giant, Rookie of the Year, National League MVP. The baby bull passed away Friday night peacefully at the age of 86. That is crazy, man, because Willie Mays just passed away just last week or a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. And now another giant, a great giant, I would say, Ed Cepeda just passed away too peacefully in his sleep. So condolences to the family, and rest in peace to a phenomenal player, a Puerto Rican that started he was the first Puerto Rican to start an All-Star game and second Puerto Rican inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. So condolences to the family. The baby bull will be missed. And then the second on around the horn, Jose Iglesias, not Enrique Iglesias, not the singer. We're talking about the baseball player. He debuted his song "Oh My Gosh" at Citi Field after the Mets Friday win. I know that was a big thing going around social media from all your baseball platforms, from Fox MLB, MLB as well, MLB Live. Yeah, he was performing his number one hit single, OMG. It has a really catchy tune. I'm going to lie. Not going to lie. It has a really catchy tune. If you translate the words from Spanish to English too, it is very positive, uplifting messages from the middle infielder himself. So if you haven't checked it out, go check out that song. It's a really great hit from Jose Iglesias. And then to end the show, Gunnar Henderson. He is the first candidate to be on the home run derby. The first player that will be in the home run derby this year for not the home run derby, before the baseball activities over there in Arlington. I think there's 8 spots. So there's only one right now so far. If I had to guess, I could put myself on the spot right here. Last year was Ali Rutschman. It was Adolis Garcia. It was Randy Arozarena, Mookie Betts, Luis Robert Jr., Ali Rutschman, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I know I'm missing one more. I can't think of the other one. But if I had to guess for this year, you're going to see Vladimir Guerrero Jr., I think, again, defend his title. You already got Gunnar Henderson. I think Adolis Garcia does it again just for the fact that they're in his home stadium. Oh, Julio Rodriguez was the other guy. There it is. Got the 8. I think Adolis Garcia participates. Kyle Tucker last year, I remember him talking about wanting to participate maybe in the home run derby. I highly doubt that happens since the injury has came up with him. Other than that, them are the only 3 I feel like I'm very confident on. I don't see Mookie Betts doing it. Maybe Randy Arozarena could do it again. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, who you think could make it in real quick on there. But then too, I mean, the home run derby does have new format, new rules announced by MLB today, which is, I think it was good. It hasn't been, it's these same rules have been implemented since 2015. I think it's good now that they're changing it up a little, but I'm trying to see, I have it right here on me. On the out system, as they call it. It used to be 10 outs per round. Then now, next thing you know, it's kind of been like that timer of how many home runs you can hit. Well, it's going to be a knockout style. Doesn't begin until the semifinals. Last year, the entire derby was an 8-person single elimination bracket with 3 rounds. Now, the entire competition was knockout style, with any player need to win 3 separate one-on-one matchups to win this. This year, there's still an element of a one-on-one showdown, but that won't come into play until the semifinals of the home run derby. So that will be interesting to see how that plays out. Now there's bonus pitches, and there is no longer a timer. Obviously, you remember if you hit over 450 feet last year, you got considered an additional 230 seconds, making it into a minute. And like I said, automatic 30 seconds. Well, this year, the bonus pitches are different, both in terms of how they are required and how long the bonus period lasts. Instead of getting an automatic 30 seconds of extra time, each player now gets bonus pitches up until they record 3 outs within the bonus period. Furthermore, if a player hits a home run of at least 425 feet, you remember it used to be 450, now it's 425 within the bonus period, then the bonus period is extended to last until the player records until the player records his 4th out in that period. So it's kind of the same, just a little bit of difference on that part. And that's pretty much it. That's really kind of like the kind of the same thing of the home run derby through the past year since 2015. And like I said, additionally, the timeouts rules are still the same. Each batter is entitled to one 45-second timeout in each of the three regulated periods, but timeouts cannot not be called during the bonus periods. So that's always happened too. Tiebreaker system, once the knockout stage has begun, will be the same it has always been. Ties in the semifinals or finals will be broken by a 60-second swing off with no stoppage time or additional time added. If a tie remains after the swing off, batters will engage in successful swing off until there is a winner. So a lot to go into play. If you haven't checked it out of the home run derby, make sure you go to MLB.com or just make sure you go to check it anywhere. I'm pretty sure somewhere else besides MLB.com has kind of the rules and the new regulations to this year's home run derby. But man, I'm excited for the MLB All-Star break. I'll be out there covering the futures game. I'll be covering the home run derby, the All-Star game, seeing what Astro players are out there, just not even specifically Astro players, but just even overall the baseball players, the superstars are out there. So I'm very excited to get out there, cover that, make sure I get some good content for Astro player wise, as well as Major League Baseball player wise, because it's going to be a great time in Arlington, Texas, even though the Texas heat is going to be hot as shit. But I think it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great time out there. But yeah, man, now we're at 6 minutes in of non talking. I had maybe like a little 5-second, 10-second period of getting a little bit of swigs of water, but I appreciate everybody's time and day to watch this episode. We had a great audience tune in today on episode 192. Like I said, the Astros leaving ugly Grimace on the Mets. That's the end of our show. Like I said, continue to follow us at all our social media platforms from Twitter, X, whatever you want to call that app, Full Steam Ahead on there, as well as TikTok, FSA Full Steam Ahead on Instagram as well. Make sure you go out there. Give us a follow if you haven't. We've been getting a great follow cast out there on Instagram. Our numbers continue to go up. Trying to beef up them numbers on Twitter. We did our giveaway. Shout out to the winner who won the giveaway. Real quick, I'll give her a shout out right now that had won the giveaway. I have it right here with me. Shout out to Sunshine on Me. Shay, shout out to you winning the Space City bundle with the Jose Altuve bobblehead and the Space City Kyle Tucker jersey. But until then, y'all have a safe and great start to your week. Make sure you get that Monday going. It's going to be a magnificent Monday. If you're hearing this on this Monday, y'all have a safe day. Y'all have a blessed week. We'll give you that recap of that Toronto Blue Jay series and then get you ready for that Twins series, which the Twins have been playing some great baseball. But until then, y'all have a safe and blessed week. Get a great start to the week, and we'll talk to y'all later.